of course, we know what Amari can do. We saw what he did, last season. Now you guys have obviously Darwin Ballo in that room. He's gotten a lot of experience himself. What has stuck out to you about the way he plays the game and just his style of play?
He's fluid. He's athletic. Good ball skills. Good feet. I think he's a caring teammate. He's worked his butt off since he's been here. He's improved, and we're excited to have him.
Do you feel like his style or even just his experience kind of can alleviate, some of Amari's workload, during the season? Like, obviously, again, we know what he can do, but do you feel having another experienced running back kind of is a benefit to Amari?
Yeah, so the first thing I would tell you is there's no substitute for experience. So we're absolutely happy to have him. And he has brought a level of experience to our running back room that was very well needed. And we're looking forward to taking advantage as we progress through the season.
Have you ever coached a running back with as much talent as Amari Hampton?
I have.
And who would that be?
I've had Joseph Adai, Keelan Williams, Tatum Bell, DJ Foster. I thought coming out of high school was not necessarily the physical aspect of Amari, but athletically he was very, very productive and good player. Ali Broussard. I don't know.
How does Amari compare to those guys?
I don't get into that. I think every individual, and this is how I recruit running backs, I think every individual is unique to himself, right? They all have a different set of skill set, mindset, and approach to the game, and I just try to cater to what that is and find ways to nurture those guys and get them to grow.
Well, then, assuming you were part of the recruiting process for Amari, did you ever think he would become what he is now when you first laid eyes on him?
Absolutely. It came down to Amari and another young man, and I was talking to Coach Brown, and I just told him, I said, I think the difference between him and Amari is Amari is an NFL running back. The other kid is more of a system running back.
Chip was saying that Omarion, he's really quiet. He just puts his head down and gets to work in practice, and he doesn't want to come out. I mean, how do you coach someone like that who is a little on the quieter side? Like, how do you connect?
It's extremely easy because he embraces coaching. He wants to be coached, and so it's just simple.
Whenever Matt talks about Caleb Hood being healthy, he said a healthy Caleb Hood is an outstanding player. Mm-hmm. What is a healthy Caleb Hood for 12 weeks for you guys?
He would be someone that we would be excited to have. A healthy Caleb Hood. Help you beat Duke, he helped you beat Wake, he helped you beat Miami. So he's had some experience in helping us win games around here. So if we can keep him healthy, he definitely can help us.
We've seen various flashes of him, a run at App State, that kind of thing. He can catch the ball some. Has he been on the field enough where he can kind of become more consistent in those areas and sort of put all that together? Are you seeing more of that from him?
Well, being that, I've seen him for 3 years, I kind of know what's there. The other part of that is him just being there, right? And so it's more important that he's there when we start the season and in position to help us then.
Mm-hmm. What have you seen from Darwin Barlow so far?
Just like I mentioned earlier, one, he's athletic, he's fluid, great hands, great feet. He's a really, really good teammate. I love having him in the room. He brings a sense of humor that maybe some of the other guys are embracing, and it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry, sense of human.
Sense of humor.
Humor.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Tell me about that humor.
Well, he just has his own unique way of just making us laugh and just having fun. And I enjoy that. I do. What we try to encourage is for each young man to be who they are, and he does a pretty good job of being himself.
He got emotional with us last week, a week and a half ago, when we talked to him about his recent track, the tail end, I guess, of his time in Southern Cal to here. How aware are you of that? And does that maybe, when you see something like that from a guy and he's got 1 year, what does that tell you about him as an individual and how he fits in a room like that?
Well, you really don't know, right? The first thing you have to figure out is why. Why wasn't he as successful as I would maybe think he could be, right? And then once you can figure that out, you try to embrace that to bring it out of him. But also there's a standard here in our running back room that he has to embrace as well. And I think both have come together and mesh, and now you're starting to begin to see what he's truly capable of doing.
Without Drake May leading the offense, have you had to have conversations with guys like Omarion or Caleb about handling pressure of carrying this offense and being leaders on a team, or is that kind of just how they act every day of wanting to be leaders?
Yeah, we just talk about being the best version of ourselves, right? There's a standard in that room that we try to, meet. And although Omarion had a successful season last year, nothing's guaranteed this year. So he has to work twice as hard to put himself in position to duplicate that, right? So that's what we're trying to get done.
Larry, it sounds like since the spring, you guys want to try to run the ball more. I mean, you ran the ball plenty last year, but maybe depend on it even more this season. I mean, how have you seen that just playing out over this camp? Do you think you can be a more run-oriented team or maybe a more ball-control team than you were the last couple of years?
Right. Well, so for one, I think everyone is aware of Omarion and his talents, right? And so I think there will be a concerted effort to try to minimize that.
Yeah.
And so I still think offensively we have to have some sort of balance to kind of keep defenses off balance and put ourselves in position to best utilize Omarion as well as some of the other guys in that room to help our offense be successful.
One thing that Darwin mentioned when we spoke with him a couple of weeks ago was that he felt like he truly belonged here.
Mm-hmm.
How would you describe what that camaraderie in that running back room has been like? I imagine it can get pretty competitive, but it seems like everyone's very tight.
Well, I was told this last week by one of our guys, and he said, Coach, he said he had experienced just a little bruise, and he didn't want to sit out practice. He said that would be deflating, Coach. He said, I love this room. I love my teammates in the room. He said, we're having a great time. We care about each other, and I don't want to let them down. So it has come together. They spend time together. They've just done a tremendous job of embracing each other and being unselfish.
We've talked a lot about Omarion, the player, obviously, and how good he is, but how have you seen him as a person grow over the past 6-7 months with all the attention that's being put on him locally, nationally, and all of that?
Same old. Quiet, selfless, a great teammate, wanting more for himself, wanting more for his teammates. Very excited about the season.
Did you hear that he said, Larry, did you hear that he said 2,000 yards might be possible this year? Told us that at ACC kickoff. Kind of perked our ears up a little bit.
I heard that, and I embrace the aggressive thoughts by him. So if it's not 2,000 and it's 1,700, I think we'd all be okay with that.
How much work did he get in the scrimmage today? And who was the backup to Omarion in the scrimmage?
So he got roughly about 20 snaps, out of 80 snaps, so a fourth of the reps. Mm-hmm. And then I tried to balance it out to where Bullet and Barlow kind of got anywhere from 15 to 20 apiece, and then the other guys kind of got the rest. So that's kind of how it goes.
How's Bullet done?
Bullet has done a phenomenal job. Just being as young as he is, and to be as mature as he is, and as sharp and smart as he is, and to have a fall camp to where he really didn't experience many bad days and he didn't hit a wall was pretty impressive.
Going back to O a little bit, talk some about Darwin's humor. His teammates have told us that, Omarion has a sense of humor as well, kind of like a sly sense of humor. Have you seen that at all?
You can,
Okay.
it's all, he's a little more open with them, but he will joke with me at times. And so I just try to allow him to be himself and give him the space to be himself. And that has worked extremely well for us.
When we talked to Bullet back in January when he first got here, he said one of the things he took a lot of pride in was that he's arriving already knowing how to pass block. Mm-hmm. And last week Chip said he's either the best or second best pass blocker for a running back that you have. How rare is it that a young dude can pass block as well as he can? And how good is it?
It's extremely rare, and he is good. But by the same token, throughout high school, he was put in a position to where he had to block defensive ends, right? But not just defensive ends. You got guys that were going to Florida State, Miami, Florida, all these national programs, and he had to fit up on them every single week. So when he got here, that was not new to him.
Yeah, and his team passed a lot too. He said his high school team passed a lot, so he was constantly in position to have to pick up all kinds of stuff.
So I would go watch him play, and I was like, man, I mean, it was play after play after play, and I'm like, wow. I was actually like, Coach, But I'm grateful. It's paying off for the Tar Heels.
A lot of the qualities you've been mentioning about these running backs remind me of British Brooks and his journey and the way he played with UNC. Seeing that he's succeeded, playing with the Houston Texans, the latest, is there a legacy that you can kind of see that he left with these running backs, especially when he took on kind of that teaching role when he got hurt?
Yes, I think this room is deep with history. Not only just British, but even a lot of the guys that came before British are coming back, right? And they're giving wisdom to these guys and giving them the blueprint to how to be successful right here in Carolina. And I enjoy that. But British did, he took the fatherly role in the room, and guys embraced him, and we thank him for that.
Larry, understanding that Charleston French got here in the summer and is, I guess behind compared to guys that went through the fall and the spring. Like, can he help you this year? Where is he at in his development? Like, what have you seen from him this camp and how he's progressing?
Right, you get a chance to see him today?
I wish we would have got a chance to see him.
Okay, he had a pretty good day today.
Okay.
But he is coming along. He's a sharp young man. He has a unique skill set. He's great feet and vision. He's tough. And again, he's coming along in terms of learning the system. And so if we just continue to push, and in my mind, I have to push every day, like at some point we're going to need him.
Yeah.
And I think if we continue to push him with that approach, at some point, if we do need him, we're looking forward to him being ready.
What did he show you today?
He had a couple long runs today. He did a good job in pass protection.
Got to ask some special teams questions before you're out of here.
Absolutely.
Mac told us last Sunday, he said about 75% of the time he's been pleased with both punters, 25% of the time not. Where are the punters right now, and is Tom probably the guy that's going to take the first punt at Minnesota? Is he the guy?
Yeah, so I think from when they started in the fall camp to where we are today, I think you've seen some progress. The biggest emphasis from day one to now, and will continue to be, is just consistency, right? And that is a focus and something that they are aware of. And as of right now, I think Tom has put himself in position to help us. And again, Lucas is someone who has improved, and we'll continue to evaluate it. But I do think that Tom can put us in position to be effective this season.
And staying on punting, there were a couple of punts blocked last year. How much progress have you made with the protection? And was it protection, or was it some on the punter? How does mistakes?
I think scheme-wise, it didn't have much to do with it. You look at it, it was individuals, and we have addressed those issues, and we will continue to do so throughout the season.
At the risk of asking like a dumb / obvious question, pass blocking as a running back, just truly how difficult is it, and what are some of the traits that you find the best pass blocking running backs have?
So, I think personally, pass blocking is a mindset. I don't buy into you can or you can't do it. If you're not pass blocking, you're choosing not to. And it's my job fundamentally to help them in that aspect, but it's a mindset. You just gotta want to. And if you don't want to, then you're telling me you're choosing not to play. It's kind of simple.
Larry, getting back to special teams, what are your thoughts on the new NFL kickoff rule? Have you seen it during the preseason, and being that special teams mind, I guess, what are your thoughts on it?
I've seen just enough of it to know nothing about it.
Larry, on the punting, you're talking about how far you've come. How far have you come? Because it seems like, I'm saying from Tom, the operation, getting better at that, because it seems like there's been a long way to go there coming out of last season.
Right, and I think that's a fair statement, And again, I think it's all about consistency, right? From hang time to ball placement, that's part of it. But the biggest piece is just everybody doing their jobs, And I don't. It was enough happened last year to cause real concern, but also it was enough happened to force us to position ourselves to address it. And I think we've done a good job. Coach did a phenomenal job this past spring. it was a big emphasis on it. And I felt coming out of spring that we were in pretty good shape. And now we just have to continue to build up on that.
Mac mentioned he also mentioned using more starters on special teams. Some of the starters. How many more are involved in special teams?
Well, it's all a collective effort, right? In terms of starters, you know, you want to always put your best players in position to be successful and help the team, but also just being mindful of, you know, this is a long season. So some of these young players on our roster have to be in position to help us.
Right.
So as they continue to grow, we'll continue to mix them in to have a balance to our special team roster.
Have y'all found, Larry, that Tom, I mean, you know, I know he had just got here, I guess, last year. Have y'all found that he's more comfortable with the rugby punt or the traditional punt? Or are you still trying to figure that out? Is there one that you feel like he's better suited for?
Right, so obviously coming in as an Aussie punter, right, you would feel that he was probably more comfortable with the rugby.
Right.
And then being able to get him to a point with the spread punt or the traditional punt to where we can add some versatility in our scheme. And so we are making strides there.